Welcome to the Blessed Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raquel Tolson, and this podcast is to help you experience being blessed that transcends a mere hashtag. And you guys know I'm a firm believer that being blessed is a mindset. You have to make a daily decision to be blessed. Now, I'm here broadcasting on WYTV7 Christian Broadcasting Network, a nonprofit radio broadcast with a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. If you are enjoying the Blessed Podcast, please go donate at www.wytv7.org. This podcast is sponsored by Tolson's Publishing. We're still, we just got out the holidays, I know, but it's not too late to go pick up I Need a Christmas Angel. It's a cozy romance for all seasons. And the song is still for purchase, Christmas Angel, 99 cents on iTunes and Amazon. All right, we're in 2021, new year, new thoughts, all of that good stuff. I hate saying new year, new you, because you're the same you just got bigger, better, whatever, more brilliant and all that stuff. But you're still great. You've always been great. You always will be great. Remember that. All right, so our guest for this very first podcast of the year is Miss Kimberly Evans. She's a mentor of mine. You guys, you're going to love her. She's so smart. Oh my gosh. She has a JD and an MBA. Y'all know I love people like you, right? Because we both got JD, so we got something in common. And she is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And when we air this, it will be our Founders Day. So whoop whoop for the Deltas in the house. Okay. Kimberly has a business purpose consulting. She is also an executive vice president with Five Rings Financial. She is the newly installed Collin County Black Chamber of Commerce president. Correct? Did I say that right?
That's correct.
All of that. She does everything. She's an author. She's a mother. She's a wife. And she lives in Frisco, Texas. Welcome, Kimberly Evans, everybody.
Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I am great. I am just excited about the new year. New Year's resolutions. I still do them. Some people don't think I still do them because it's it gives me, purpose, vision. It's like a vision. Like a vision board. I set my vision and I'm going to go toward that. I'm not on myself for if I don't do everything right, but I want to head in the right direction. So that I wanted to bring you here because one of my New Year's resolutions is to get physically fit. I'm going to get physically fit too. It's physically fit and fiscally fit. But I wanted to talk about the fiscally fit because I think most people focus on the physical and we need to focus on the fiscal. Right. So I brought you in, Ms. Kimberly. Tell everybody why I brought you in. Let them know.
Well, you brought me in because I have a passion for financial education and making sure that people understand where they fit in our financial system, particularly around their personal economy. So you've heard me say this before. It's really interesting. We keep track of the global economy. We keep track of the national economy, but we don't keep track of our personal economy. And the problem is the only one you really can influence at all is your personal economy. And all of that other stuff doesn't matter. And because we own financial services companies, it's really great that I understand your money. I've been in financial services for 30 years. The problem is I need you to understand it because you're the person who's got to make decisions. And what's happening is people just don't have enough information. So what we spend all of our time doing is, listen, this is all the information that's available. We're going to help you navigate through it. We're going to give you your own financial services team that does not cost you any money because we don't charge a fee, which people often say, well, how do you get paid? Obviously, we still get paid, but that's another conversation for another day. But here's what's really critically important. This year, I am really focused on money, methods, and mindset, and really helping people develop personal economy performance plans, as opposed to, oh, I have a budget here, or I have these things there. It is so important because finances is one of the things that literally controls people's lives. but they see it a little differently. So it's a tool to help you accomplish whatever your goals are. It is not how you define your life, your well-being, or even the quality of life you're living. So that is why you invited me here today, because you know that's what I love to do.
Yeah, all right. I just hope you, if you are listening, please get out a paper and a pen, because you're going to get some nuggets today, and then we're going to invite you so you can get some more nuggets. Hey, I'm telling you, y'all want to get on it, because, you know, we can be out there fighting for a whole lot of stuff, but until we got some finances to back us our fight, I'm just saying that, you know. But I'm going to get into that Black History Month. That's why I'm trying to get y'all fiscally fit so we can get ready, okay? But so, you know what? I write an article in this magazine called Living Day by Day. And one of the articles I wrote for 2021 was to get fiscally fit. And I gave 3 tips. And you already kind of busted one of my tips, so I'm going to still talk about it. And you go tell me how we can fix it. But one of the tips is to budget your money. And you talked about it's not enough to budget. So let's talk about that, because I know for a fact that most people do not know where their money goes. I know for a fact. They're like, I had this money and now it's gone. And then I always used to tell my son, use your debit card so we can see where your money goes. When he was in college. Food. Wings, pizza, and beer. It's like, dude, you're eating your money. Okay, it's okay to go out and do that and enjoy, but you can't eat up your money like that.
Right.
So what do you suggest? Okay, so I talked about budgeting your money, but you talk about your plan to do that.
Yeah, so one of the things I will say is what you pointed out with your son is so typical of all of us, right? The number one way we misappropriate money in our budgets is by eating out. And people want to believe, well, it's cheaper to eat out, or it's just me. It still is not. It is still better to cook at home. And it's okay to eat out occasionally, but when you look at the sum of your budget every single month and see how much you're spending, ask yourself, what else could you have done with that money, even if you'd just skipped half of it? Not even all of it, because one of the things we know is we're not very good at having just live in strict rules, right? Which is why people don't like budgeting. It sounds like it's too much work. It sounds hard. It sounds difficult. And the reality of it, it is not. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to change the conversation. Let's not talk about budgeting. Let's talk about your personal economy performance plan. And one of the things that your personal economy means is that it's your household management. How are you managing your household, and how does money play a part in that? Generally, there's several things that are going on in that. And usually there's 6 factors that we want to talk about in your personal economy. They generally all manifest themselves in your money, because that's where we can see it. It's tangible. And our vision of what being wealthy is and what our money looks like in our households is a little different. And so this is what I want to suggest to everybody is think about your personal economy as 6 things. Okay, so it's spiritual, physical, mental, relational, emotional, and then financial. We're going to start from the inside and work our way out. And if you can get those other things in alignment, what's going to happen is all of those things then will manifest themselves in your finances. And so people need to think about money as, how am I managing my household? What does my quality of life look like? Like if you ask people, for example, I want to have this much money. And I say, okay, for what? And they go, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't mind helping you reach your goals, but why is it that you think? People get stuck on money as a number. And your wealth is not a number. Your wealth is the quality of life you live and how money is going to allow you to do that. So for some people, budgeting means I just need to get to the point where I can pay my bills every month. That's okay. We've all been there. Everybody has started there. Everybody's gone through that transition. And, you know, it's just one of those levels. We all start at the survival level, right? We're just trying to survive. I just want to make sure I survive. Then you get to the point where you're secure. You can pay all your bills, but you're not necessarily saving and maybe living the life you want to live. Then you make that next step to success, and then you make the next step to significance. The very first fundamental part of that is, what does your money look like? How are you managing your household, and how do you get there? And that's where budgeting comes in. So let's take the word budgeting out. Let's talk about your personal economy performance plan. And what does that look like? How do we put it in play? And we have some very basic tools to teach people how to do that. But it is so critical because it's how you reach the goals that you have for you and your family.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love that because it sounds so. I try to tell people we're all businesses. It's like you have a name, you are a business, and to kind of think of it like that, because a lot of people think, especially now, we all, the whole entrepreneurship and people are glorifying that. But I tell people, even when you work a job, you're still your own business. Mm-hmm. You might be an employee somewhere. That's just how money comes in, but you're still your business. Your household, your family, that's your business. And we should govern it as such. So because we put more pride, we take time, we make sure we do the money right. If we had a business, we need to do the same thing with our household. I love that whole concept. Oh, I love it. See, I told y'all, get y'all pens out. You didn't write that stuff down. You messed up.
Yes, let's get those dimensions because those are critical.
Yes. Okay, so part 2 of that, to get tips to get fiscally fit, is to save money. Everything is like budget money, save money. So save money, and people are like, well, like I think you even alluded to the whole survival. Well, there is money there. We have money to save. We might not need to, like we talked about, eat out as much. Maybe once a week is what we do. And the coffee. I'm a Starbucks fan. I love coffee, but I had to say, you know what? You need to stay at home. You don't have to keep that gold card status. You don't need to spend all that money to keep your gold card status. Nope. Use your Keurig and get you some creamer that you like, and you got your coffee at the house. And I had to save money that way. Oh, the lottery tickets. I want to have that money. So like, you can't win if you're not in it. Mm-hmm. But then I looked and I was like, I spent how much on lottery tickets? Because I was like keeping like all my lottery tickets because I wanted to see something. I was trying to show myself. And at the end of the year, I had this big old full envelope. And I just started using like how much I spent. Like, and I was just like, I spent that much on buying lottery tickets? How horrible is that? So, I mean, this is called blessed, but everybody know I'm not that religious person that I'm like, that's the devil and all that stuff. That's not me. Because I believe we can do everything we want to do. So right. I buy the lottery tickets, but I realized I spent too much on them. Mm-hmm. And so I had to like cut that down so I can save. And refinancing mortgages right now. People are saving a lot of money by refinancing mortgages. Mm-hmm. So where else would you tell people to look for if they are out, if they're listening to us and they're like, I don't have no money, Doc. Where else would you tell them to look for money to save?
So there's a couple things I would say to people first is that you've got to really embrace the concept of paying yourself first, even if it's a small amount of money. I think people get caught up in the amount of money they need to save. And so they feel like, well, if I can't save $100, it doesn't matter. I have a client that I started with in 2006, and I started her with saving a quarter, literally a quarter. Now she saves well over $1,000 per month, has a savings account out of this world. And here's what people need to understand about savings is it's not the amount of money you save, it's the habit of saving money. So what you want to do is just figure out a small habit that you can change. So for you mentioned Starbucks and you mentioned the lottery. You don't have to cut them out completely. You can just scale them back, and what you were willing to spend before, save it. So we as Christians, so this is a Christian broadcast, so I can actually say these kind of things. So we always talk about paying our tithes and offering. We always talk about paying God first, and depending on which church you go to, it's a topic that's discussed quite a bit. Well, the same is true for you. It's God, because God created you and he wants you to be successful, and then everything else. Because what's going to happen is that you will scrape and scrounge to pay all your bills and you will be broke and you'll keep going. But then when you need something, you don't have it. So it's that habit. So create the habit. Find one thing. It doesn't have to be a lot of things because we are not the type of people. You're never going to hear out of my mouth, don't go on vacation, don't go shopping, don't go out to dinner, because I'm not going to do that. I'm not that disciplined. So there's no need to tell them. So pick a thing to start with, right? One less cup of coffee, one less meal. And instead of spending that money elsewhere, start saving it. What happens when you start seeing your money saved and you start seeing it accumulate, you want to save more. And then you just naturally just start doing that. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would tell people to do is really the exercise you did. Keep a spending log. Track what you spend. Spend the next month, the month of January. I'll even give you a couple of weeks. Spend till the end of January, write down everything you spend. And then at the end of the month, go back and calculate out where you spent that money. People will be surprised at where you're nickel and diming yourself to death because you don't want to go home and get something to drink, or you don't want to go home and cook. So you stop here, you grab this, or you go by Quick Trip or Racetrack here, or whatever that looks like. So do that and see where you're spending your money, and then make a decision as to, okay, I'm going to cut this one thing out right now. And then you'll just start accumulating that. And then the other thing I really want to say about savings is stop getting caught up into the grace periods for your bills. Your bills are due on or before the due date. The systems that are tracking when you pay your bills know whether you paid them on the first or not, and they monitor that stuff. And when you really want to get a break or get something cut back, or if you pass a due date, all of that interest and all that stuff is just money you are giving away that you could be paying and saving for yourself. So those would be some of the basic things I would say about savings, but really, really the mindset behind that is really understanding that it's not how much you save, it's the habit of saving, and just do one thing at a time, a little bit at a time, and you will master this. It'll get there just like you did. You were like, wait a minute. You will find that revelation for yourself and be able to decide, this is what Raquel can do, this is what Kimberly's going to do, and other people might be like, I ain't doing that. It's okay. Just figure out what you're going to do.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It's a habit. Create a habit. Yes, even if it's $1, start where you can start. Right? Don't knock yourself from starting low. That's where you can start. That's where you at.
Right.
Right.
You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve to take care of you. You can't be good for anybody else unless you take care of you.
Yes, gotta put my oxygen mask on first.
There you go.
So my third tip is to protect money. This one is like the most important one, because I think the other ones, people have heard budget, save, people heard every here they go, but protect, they're like, well, what does that mean? But protection of your money is important. Mm-hmm. So Kimberly Evans, please share how people can protect their money.
So in our economy, there are accounts that you can set up that will prevent you from losing the money you saved. Now, here's what's interesting about this concept is wealthy people have been using it and known it forever. Somehow or another, the rest of us never got this information. So, we are on this mission to get this information out. So here's what happens. We all are very, very good savers. So say you get a massive savings plan. You got money in your 401k, you have an IRA, you may even have some savings accounts. Everything's going amazing for you until something happens. Well, what ends up happening then is you drain all of those resources to be able to get past whatever happened. Generally, if somebody gets sick, right? And people say to me all the time, well, Kimberly, I'm not planning to get sick. Well, I don't know who is planning to get sick.
No,
or, right. I'm not planning to have a car accident. Wait, is there a way? You know something I don't, that you can plan these type of things? But we do that. So we assume that nothing's ever going to happen. And then when it does, what ends up happening is we end up draining every bit of everything we saved in order to be able to get through that period of time, whether it's paying our mortgage, taking care of the kids, buying food, etc. But there are accounts in this country that you can set up where your money is going to be accumulating, but it is never, ever going to be lost in the market, and it will be able to protect you should you need something. And these accounts they're called indexed accounts. People have been using them. Like I said, the wealthy use them for several reasons. They use it to save money, they use it to protect their money, and they use it to pass on generational wealth. It is the greatest way to transfer wealth in this country and do it tax-free on top of that. Here's what I tell people all the time. People go, well, I have never heard about that. I'm like, I know that. That's why I'm telling you about it. The other thing about it is that we're not saying it's the end all to be all. What we're saying is everybody should have at least an account in your financial portfolio that that money is going to be there no matter what, and that is going to be protected. The other thing that we need to really talk to people about is life insurance, not just traditional life insurance, but living benefits life insurance. And I just learned about this concept a few years ago and had much attitude because I didn't know about it already.
I just learned about it last year and I was mad.
Yes, I was the same.
I was so angry not just with myself, but I was angry with all the people that talked about insurance to me and never talked to me about this. I was angry.
Yep. And I was the same way, because here's the reality, right? Is that most of us think of life insurance in the same way we think of homeowners insurance, or the same way we think of car insurance. So we think of it as an expense. Life insurance is part of your financial portfolio. It is literally what protects you and allows you to create generational wealth that may have not been there the generation before. So for example, you and I are sisters. I pass away, I leave you $100,000. You didn't have $100,000 before. I may have paid $50 a month for that $100,000. Now you have $100,000. Each generation can do that. Each person can do that. You can transfer wealth and or create wealth that was never there before. But with living benefits life insurance, you can use that money while you are still alive. So if something happens to you, you're protecting it. So I don't think people are hearing what we're saying. It's like, not only should you be saving it and accumulating, you need to make sure you understand how to protect it and then pass it on. And it's literally a secret wealthy people have been using forever. We, on the other hand, especially in the Christian community and sometimes even in our African-American community, we're like, well, I ain't never heard about that. Nobody else has done it before, so I'm not going to do it. That's why we stay continually broke. And you've heard me say this a lot, and people laugh at me, but I mean this with all the heart. I love my people. I love people in general. I love people to be able to progress and move forward. But here's the reality for all of us. Unless we do something different, we're going to continue to live generation after generation the same way we have. 100 years ago, we had 1/4 of 1% of the nation's wealth. Today, we still have about 1/4 of 1% of the nation's wealth. However, we've learned how to make money. We live in the suburbs. We drive nice cars. So we think we've moved forward. We have made progress, but we need to take that next step now. What does our legacy look like? What does creating generational wealth look like? How do we make sure our money is working for ourselves? So we really need to do the work about changing the mindset. Let's stop thinking old school. Let's stop thinking about the way things were. Let's understand what our economy is today. How do we fit into it? And then how do we use it to our advantage? And I tell people all the time, ask as many questions as you possibly can. Ask everybody, because trust me, having been in this industry for 30 years, I understand Wall Street like the back of my hand. I understand mortgage banking like the back of my hand. I also understand what's most important to all of us is our own household. Our personal economy is literally the thing that we need to pay the most attention to and then move from there. And that's the piece that we tend to neglect the most.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is so like on point. You know, I wrote the book Wired Church Folk Poor. And mine is about mindset, because a lot of it really starts in our mind. We, you know, everything seems like a scam. And we have, you know, we have been scammed a lot. I get it. But when the people come around and want to share information, people are like, oh, it's a scam. They're just trying to get my money. It's like, really? And the mouths are so closed off to just learning. It's like, look, just listen, learn. If you don't like it, then after you listen to it, fine. But if you can learn something and move forward and make your family better for it, why not listen to it? And I feel like we as Christians are so closed-minded to everything. And then it says faith without works is dead. And some people think like, oh, that means I gotta work. No, it means that your faith should produce the proof. Yeah, there should be proof of your faith. Like when I'm living in it and I'm like, oh, woe is me. I don't have this. I'm, unhealthy. I'm this and that. How is that proof of God's goodness? It's like, come on, at this point, 2021, I'm all about, I want to prove to people God's goodness. And you know what? Unfortunately, money is one of those proofs. And it's not just the having the green money. That's not it. It's the freedom. It's the freedom to be able to give your church over and above the 10%. You know, it's the freedom to help the poor people out with things. It's the freedom to have a home to bless somebody with inexpensive rent. It's those kind of things. That's the proof I'm talking about. It's not to hoard all this money and to say I'm a billionaire. No, that's not what God wants us at all. He wants us to have so we can help. He wants us to have so we can show proof of his goodness. He wants people to look at us and be like, oh, what? I like her shine. I like her glow. And they are drawn to you. And then they want to find out where you got yours from. And you tell them, it's God. And they're like, well, tell me about this God. That's
it's
what God
the God in me. It's the God in me, literally. And that's what people need to understand. People say to me all the time, well, Kimberly, God, you're into money. Do you love money? Not at all. Could care less. Money, however, is a tool that enables me to live the quality of life that I want to live. The peace and joy that I have in my life, I would love for everybody to have. And I have it because I was willing to let people teach me how to turn my pennies into dollars. It is one of those things that allows you to advance and move forward, not just for yourself, but for your family and whatever that looks like. And the people say, well, money is the root of all evil. No. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. God did not say anything about us being broke. He says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not harm you. And yet we will go, well, I'm keeping it real. I'm struggling. I didn't find a scripture in the Bible that says anything about us struggling. That is not what he says. And then people say, well, the Bible says that the poor you will have with you always. He didn't say you had to be the poor. He said we would have poor people all the time, meaning that we need to help them become not poor because there will be poor people behind them. He did not say anything about you sitting in your house looking at the ceiling going, well, God's going to bless, but I'm not going to do anything. And so I love getting people to just open your mind to understand the power you really have to control whatever quality of life you want to have and allow God to bless that in you and then allow you to bless other people. It gives you the opportunity to bless other people. And if I could get even 1 to 2, 5, 10, whatever people to live in this joyful expectation, which is how I live, I'm already assuming God is going to bless. I'm already assuming whatever he brings me to, just like this new opportunity to serve as the president of the Collin County Black Chamber of Commerce. That was nowhere on my radar. I was off doing something else. And God said, excuse me, ma'am, I need you to do this. And I'm like, no, sir, I didn't know. But through being obedient to God's gifts and blessings and the people that are in your life that want to help, you can do that. And that's all we're saying. This is our piece. This is our way to help. We need everybody to do their piece. But this is just so simple if you're just willing to listen and learn and reach the goals that you want, whatever that looks like.
Yes. Kimberly, we are out of time. Tell people how they can find you so they can learn more from you. And then for like your Money 101s, you are the person, you are the girl. This is going to air on the 13th of January. So when is your next Money 101? And how can they register and find you?
Okay, so our company's name is Purpose Consulting, LLC. You can find Purpose Consulting on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. And you can reach me directly. You can email us at info@purposeconsulting.com, and it will get to me and my team, and we'll make sure to get you service. We have a Money 101 live every Monday evening. Now, you're going to have to adjust this time, Raquel, but every Monday evening at 6:30 Central, because I'm in Dallas, Texas. And we actually share some of the concepts we were talking about today. So we would love to see all of you. All of those events are on our website, so you can actually register for them. You can go to the Facebook page, they'll be there. We would love to see you and see if we can be of any service. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to charge you anything. And I know people can be, well, if it's free, it must not be any good. I am good. Let me just say that. So I'm trying to help because it just makes such a big difference. And that is my gift.
Yes, I love it. And I am doing the same thing. I met Kimberly and Erica, and they stole me because I was looking for what I could do to help the people that that read my books and everything. I wanted to be able to help. And this is how I have found help, because we have got to learn about how money works.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn it so we can institute some practices and get fiscally fit in 2021. Thank you for being here, Kimberly. I appreciate it. Thank you so much
for having me. And I will look for this on Founders Day, because we get to celebrate money and Founders Day simultaneously.
Yes, Delta Sigma Theta Founders Day is on today. If you're listening to it on the day we broadcast it, is on Wednesday, the 13th, January 13th. So for everybody out there listening, thank you so much for listening to the Blessed Podcast or watching on the YouTube page or on Facebook. Thank you so much. Thank you so so much. And please go to www.wytv7.org to donate and join us in the Facebook group of Tribe Public. Until next week, be blessed.
Swing Into Their Dreams Foundation presents the golf tournament of the year, raising scholarships for aspiring National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia. The inaugural HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams Charity Golf Tournament. Registration and gourmet continental breakfast begins at 8 a.m. and shotgun at 10 a.m. Award reception follows. Come enjoy a day of jazz, mimosa, cigars, cash bar, silent auction, and more. For more information, contact 770-686-7148. Don't miss it.